Hank,
Hi, Sam.
so you have an open field. I don't know if you
Why?
saw my text. Well, because I pushed all the changes to all three specs over the weekend. So
Oh, yeah. That's what I've understood. Yeah, Cor is
yeah.
already busy with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good
Hi.
morning.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hi. Hey, hi, Hank. I actually have you on a list of people I should reconnect with. I'll send you a note.
Then we got two in one go.
Being so oh, we must definitely be in the summer season. It's August. Everybody's on vacation.
Hey Sam, I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
Oh, there you go. So I'm trying to see if Phil and Kevin are coming. Seeing them. I wonder if people are at the dev meeting and didn't realize it was the KERI implementers meeting. Didn't realize it was the KERI suite meeting today. Anybody want to drop off and go join that one? See if it's
I don't know if I have a link to that one.
there. I guess I'll drop off. See you in a minute.
I can paste the link in the chat, Jonathan. I'll paste the link in the chat. One moment, please. Calendar. I think a few other folks will be here. So the link is in the chat now. You
Thanks,
should
Ed.
go copy paste it or copy it at least, because if I close down the
Yeah.
oh he got them over to this spot.
Yeah, there wasn't anybody there, so they're just being really slow.
All right.
But I still don't see Phil or Kevin.
They're on their way. Yeah.
Oh, are they? Okay. Were they
I know,
over
aren't
there?
Yeah,
What
they
did
were.
people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So by the time I got there, everybody had left, but that's probably
Oh.
that's what happened.
Did you come up with two, Sam? That's funny.
Yeah, Well, I came here first and nobody was here, so I thought, why wouldn't they be? And I thought maybe they're over at the other meeting.
That's right. That's what happened.
All right, well, if somebody wants to scribe and bring up the thing, we can get started.
Yeah,
Maybe
give me a sec.
today.
I'll create the page but you guys can start talking. Give me a few minutes. I missed the first week of the month, so I thought this was the first week of the month.
Well, that happens in the summer.
That's me perpetually every weekend. I always just Sunday I skip in my mind. Like Saturday, I say tomorrow. I always mean Monday for some reason. I don't know why. It's been that way my whole life though. So what about tomorrow? I mean Monday? No, Sunday? I don't know.
There you go. So how's everybody's summer been? Anybody do anything exciting?
I moved to St. George. That's about
There
it.
you go.
And yes, it's better here.
Yeah. Be nicer in the wintertime for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind the heat. I lived in Las Vegas for a little while, and it is the 3 or 4 degrees difference from Vegas to St. George makes a huge difference.
So
Yeah. Vegas at St. George at 108 or 109 doesn't feel too bad. I was actually in Las Vegas last week, and man, 113, 114 is nasty.
So your lungs start burning every time you breathe, right?
Car starts melting in the parking lot.
Well, I'll without the thing up there, I'll start the obligatory invite everybody to the meeting, remind everybody that trust over IP requires that contributors sign all the appropriate agreements. If you haven't signed the appropriate agreements, you're not allowed to make substantive contributions, but you may be an observer. Do we have any new members here for the first time that want to introduce themselves?
I'm not here often, so I'm gonna come. I've been here before.
Yes. Okay. Well, then we'll get started as soon as we get the agenda up.
In action items, of course, it didn't format it nicely, but I think this is enough to start.
By the
Oh,
way,
appreciate
just a quick aside, Sam. The ISO 20022 group has been, they've been talking about APIs and messaging for a while now, and they never get around to talking about secure messaging, of course, but just the format. And I have mentioned Caesar to them, just that they're as a protocol that can in fact preserve signing and other things and wrap levels of encryption. So I've spread the word about Caesar to them a bit.
Good. Yeah, I've had some conversations with some ITF people about using Caesar. There is an ongoing war in IETF between Jason and CBOR, and so it's causing conflict. So my proposal is they use Caesar and then you get all three for free, because Caesar supports Jason and CBOR, so you don't have to choose necessarily. But we'll see if that goes anywhere. So that reminds me, yeah. Okay, well, let's get started through the action items. It's weird is that I've talked with Daniel a couple of times and I forgot to mention the joint issue spec and he didn't bring it up. So it's not, I guess it wasn't important enough for either of us to bring, but that remind me, I'll talk to him later today and talk about it. So but That's something good to do. What's the next one? Okay, yeah, so we need to have Daniel come. We need to have that discussion before we can make that decision. So that's
Yeah,
contingent
okay.
on that. So we'll wait till next month. So, but it's not urgent.
Mhm.
And you can check that one off.
Okay,
All the unit tests are done and pushed. That was 3 months worth of work or 2 months worth of work.
and these aren't actually check boxes, so let me. This is the worst editor in the history of wikis. It just created little boxes. That's so cute.
Oh, and they're not check boxes. Oh, well.
All right, now let me make them check.
So you
See
can
if this will work.
move the first two to continuing action
I
items.
did. I got those two, and those are actually check boxes. See,
But when it's up there, it didn't create them.
it didn't. It didn't. Let's see if this works. Hey, one big check box. That's awesome. All right, keep talking. I'll work on that.
Okay. So Hank, fix the TRES and XRES across all 3 specifications.
That's ongoing work as you just finished the Caesar and the KERI specification. So I will do that as soon as Core has migrated both or the 3 specs, and then I will do instead of the defs, I will create the trefs and the xrefs to the glossaries that we've got.
And then since Kevin is here, what does that look like in terms of a pull request? How do we want to manage that in the repo when you do that migration?
It's entirely up to the community. I mean, it basically replaces the entire branch. So if that's what people want to do, people can thumbs up it and it can be merged like any other PR.
So replace the entire branch, you'd mean the main branch. So he should do a pull request against the main branch.
That's what
Is
the
that-
existing PR is.
Yeah, okay. And then the existing main branch is just did you make a copy of that, another branch?
I did,
Or-
yeah. I pushed it
Yeah,
up
okay.
to IETF.
You push it. What's that one called? Old Main or something, or
I think it's called IETF.
IETF?
That
Okay,
was the
great.
original format.
Yeah, because we may end up having to animate the IETF version of the specs.
Yeah, okay. Okay. There's a lot in there actually.
Yeah, it wouldn't. From what I understand now, IETF would never accept any of those specs as is because they're all too big. So they'd have to be broken out into probably 10 specs.
Wow.
ITF likes really short specs. So they'd rather have lots of really short specs. Just lots of little RFCs, all dependent on each other, right? Not big specs. So unlike ISO, which likes big specs, ITF likes little specs.
Okay, let me just add to do here. Kevin Griffin split out specs into 10 or more FCs. All right, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
All right,
All
keep
right.
going.
Okay. So, all right. So Hank, that'll happen over, probably be done by, how long do you think it'll take to do that? Now that you've got all of your spec up code working.
So that's a content job. So I have to look and you have to check whether I refer to the right glossary definition.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you'll do,
We'll do
yeah.
that in a month.
But you'll create something to review in the
Yeah.
next few weeks, and then
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah. Okay. Great. All right, Phil, update the KERI repo README to include links to all KERI community related
I
meetings.
checked that was already done. I checked that
Okay.
there's already links in there for the meetings. Yeah.
And that includes the, I think this
Oh.
is because of the did WebS.
Nope. Let me add that one.
So maybe change it to add did WebS to
Yep.
that, then it's clear what it means. And then
Alright.
next one is update the KERI Suite Working Group main page in this wiki.
I started that. It's still not done. I'll add that
Okay.
one.
And then Kevin to create a repo and for the said URN specification.
Hey Phil, let me know if you want a hand with the updating the page. I did it all when we set up the other task forces, so
Okay. All right.
I know it's a lot to keep doing it yourself, so if you want a hand, just ping me and I can do it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I set them up a repo. Wenjing and Carly were working on the submission application, I guess.
Yeah, the main thing is they have some BNF
Yeah.
that
I
somebody
looked at,
needs to review to make sure it's correct.
yeah, I looked at it a while ago. It looked like they've done a pretty decent, as in there was a significant diff between Carly's and the work that Wenjing had done. Let's drop the link in chat if folks want to review it. It's here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Carly and Wenjing had done it. I took a look at the PR when it came in, and it looked like a good addition. Yeah, I encourage people to go look at it and make comments on it. That's it.
Yes, that would be good. They really, Carly and Wenjing have done a lot of work on it, so we should get that. Not be a blocker for them. I've been busy doing the working example, so I keep not doing that, not looking at the thing. If somebody else has a chance to look at the I'll probably be able to look at it this week, but anybody else that wants to look at the BNF to make sure it's right, that would be helpful.
Kevin, did you post a link to that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
And this is related to DidWebS, right? Because doesn't DidWebS have SEDs in the spec?
I think so. To some degree, it does. I'm actually looking at the link here. I don't see the ABNF in here, but there's a text document that has some stuff that looks like that might be the start.
Yeah, it's in that text document. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of the start of that, but this was the point I made to Carly when she brought this up, was there is a very well-defined ABNF in the DidWebS spec that I think probably is very close to what they need. Just so, with the modification of the initial tag, URN,
Well,
SAID or whatever. So
well, what I thought she told me is that she copied that from the DidWebS spec, but if it's not in what they did, then that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for somebody who understands SEDs better, because Carly really doesn't, she's not pretending to understand them well enough to write the
well, if this is the yeah, I mean, I don't if this is the place to comment on it, it would be easy enough just to jump in.
Yes. Yeah, just jump in there
and throw a comment on this and just
yeah.
Okay, I'll try that, because what I see is a text file that sort of is a bit of a like verbal explanation of how to build it, but it doesn't look like it's in an ABNF format to me.
Oh, yeah, it should be in there. This is so for IANA URN application, there isn't a spec that we write. We write an application that is sent to IANA to get a URN. So this is an application for a said URN, and it's supposed to include the ABNF.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do something in here. I'll put something in here. I'm happy to do that. I'll check it out. I'll do it.
And it's like there's no because it's text, it's not even markdown, so there's no line wraps on the text.
No.
So GitHub really does a poor. Yeah, I don't see ABNF anywhere in this.
Nope.
So
but maybe I just do a PR and add an ABNF in there.
Yeah, and add it in there. Yep. And then we can review that, make sure it looks good. Okay. What else do we have on the list?
That was it. That was it for meeting review for previous items.
Oh, okay, great. So action item, I want to, okay, when we get down to making the agenda, we'll discuss that. So announcements. Yes, IAW moves. So if anybody booked flights, you you better be calling your airline. They
Yep.
had to, so they said it was the Computer History Museum messed up on their scheduling, which isn't the first time they've done that, by the way. Um,
Really?
yeah, I know there was another IAW where they messed up on the scheduling, and they've double booked the museum a couple of times. There's been a couple of times where like the last day or the first day, some of the rooms weren't available because they had another conference and they, booked. They reserved rooms that the IAW was planning on using. So
Maybe they're running their scheduling software on one of the exhibits.
it's yeah, they've got an original, they've got a Commodore PET running their scheduling software.
Yeah.
Everybody raise hands who's programmed the Commodore PET.
Not me.
Anyway, how about a Radio Shack TRS-80?
No, that I've done.
Apple IIc is the earliest that I've got.
Yeah. Okay. Apple IIc.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was the other one? Oh, what was what was the game? The game company that had a computer that was also used.
The Atari 2600.
Yeah, the Atari. That's right. My mom had an Atari, and so I helped her install software on it. I didn't ever program it, but they all used I think they all used the Z80 chip. If I remember right, the 8-bit micro. And then PCs used the 8088. The 80 was the big Indian competitor to the little Indian 8088. All right.
I have an 8008.
Yeah, you did that. Yep.
Yeah, 8008 was before the 8080.
Oh, the 8008. Yes, yes, you're right. Yes, that's a really old one.
That's the one in PMOS, 20 microsecond cycle time.
There you go. Well, yeah, microseconds back in the day when microseconds were fast.
What was the note about the IAW? Was it moved?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a week earlier.
Any other announcements?
Oh,
Sorry, I digressed there in
Same place, but just a week earlier. Okay, fine.
just a week earlier. So if you so if you haven't bought your early bird tickets, I think there's 1 week left on the early bird. So any other announcements? So we had a discussion about this in a couple of meetings, and we're internally discussing the possibility of at some point having a KERI conference just dedicated to KERI. So if you have any ideas or feedback, or think it's a great idea or a bad idea, let us know. So that this would be hosted by the KERI Foundation.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, good. Then that means you're coming.
I mean, I'd love to come. I don't know if you want to do it here in Utah. That'd make it easy for me, but I probably would be willing to travel elsewhere as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably one of the considerations is travel preferences. So send Hank an email. What email should people use if they want to give you suggestions or ideas for the conference. Is Hank still here?
Yes, he is, but he's muted. He might be busy.
Okay, well, when he comes back, well,
I think the south of France would be a great place for it.
yeah. All right. Any other announcements? All right, let's go through reports. KERI Pie, I can report on that. Over the last 2 months, there's been substantive additions to KERI Pie. The most notable ones are support for all the features of AC/DCs in version 2 of the spec. So that includes support in the AC/DC Surger. There's some new classes. There's a compactor class that allows you to do that computes the most compact SED of a field map, and then the Surger AC/DC itself will compute the most compact SED for the AC/DC. There's support. There's a blinder class that supports blindable state tells. There's a group code for the blinded state that was added. There are unit tests now for all the working examples for the examples in the specs. So the examples in the specs have been redone. The pather object now uses an escape code so that you can do paths that don't start with a dash, but are of a length where you would have to pad with an A character, which is ambiguous based on certain lengths. So we always had this ambiguity problem, but that's now for pass solved with an escape character. The mapper class allows you to encode in Caesar any generic field map with things like floating point numbers and booleans and nuns. There are codes for encoding all of those, and in the case there's a case where you have a string that happens to be a valid string for a primitive, it will escape that. It will escape that so that you don't think it's a primitive. It's just a string. It just happens to be valid for a primitive. And so that allows, so that was all, those were done so that we can now Caesar encode all of the messages in KERI and AC/DC. So we have library is full support for Caesar encoding all of the message types. So we can spend time going through those, or we could do a special call to go through those, or if people aren't going to really look at it in any detail till IAW, I can go, I can have some sessions at IAW, just do code walkthroughs, however people want to do that. And then for discussion, I want to add a new discussion item. There was an ongoing discussion for how to attach IANA media types, like images and things like that. And so I've got a proposal for a new group code for media type quadruples as attachments. And then there's a discussion, let me I'll post the link, and then if we have time, I can walk through that discussion and see if you guys want to add this group code. So that's that discussion. And there's I can't remember there's an issue that I think Fergal raised, well, there's a discussion about it. So this is my proposal resulting from that discussion. Anybody else want to report on any changes in KERI Pi?
I have not had any opportunity to do anything in KERI Pi recently myself.
You did fix the unit test that made the test go from 12 minutes to run down to 3.
I guess I did that since this last meeting. Yeah. So yeah.
So if
Unit
anybody
test
was
improvement.
there you go. So we want to go through the other ones. Korea, Signify,
Signify,
TS.
TS, did WebS has its own meeting now, so we don't really need to talk about that.
Unless there's a highlight. Yeah.
There's a quick highlight with did WebS.
Yeah.
So did doc verification is now much stricter. Now if we compare the entire did doc, in the past we were only comparing the verification methods attribute. And now we compare the services, which comes from a location scheme records. And I forget what the other parts are, but also known as. And then we just recently added a bunch of integration tests. So we've got really good test coverage on WebS and fixed a lot of bugs, make sure the metadata resolution works. So anyway, lots of changes on the did WebS resolver, lots of good stuff. That's all.
Oh, good.
I mean, I would go a little bit further. Ken did an amazing job. He's totally fixed the did WebS resolver and the driver. So we've got a working did WebS implementation now with Universal Did Resolver, which is really good. We'll go through that more in detail next week in the meeting, but I haven't had a chance to dive into all of it this week, but I will do that. And just, definitely huge kudos to Kent. A lot of hard work and really great job.
Well, thanks, Jonathan, and thanks to Glyph for letting me work on it.
So I have a question. I can't remember this. Does the did doc for did WebS have a sed for the whole doc?
No, it just has the did as the ID.
So
probably should have a sed.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't add a sed to it because we now have all the code to allow you to do that. Just an idea. We could talk about it next week in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Kent or somebody. Do you want to just put a issue into the did WebS repo?
Yeah.
Just testing that as an open question.
Yep. For now, since we haven't recreated the Glyph repo, I'm going to put it in the Hyperledger Labs repository. That's where I've been storing all my issues. As soon as
no, put this issue in the did WebS spec repo.
Spec. Oh,
The
that's
spec
repo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what we're basically asking is, should we change the form of the URI to include a sed?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I misunderstood. Okay, I will add that.
And if you're relying on a did doc, you don't know KERI or care about KERI, so you won't verify a sed of the did doc, right? I mean, I'm being totally honest here. If you're looking at the did doc, then you're doing it because you don't speak KERI. If you speak KERI, you won't even ever look at a did doc. So I don't know that adding a sed to the did doc makes sense. It might be not worth it. Like, will anyone ever verify it? I doubt it.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's worth, I think it's worth having this conversation. We've actually brought this up in a way before when we've talked about hashing the did doc and how we do a comparison of the did doc. And so I do think it's worth just having the conversation. So it's worth just putting a marker in the repo saying that this thought came up and we can ignore it, or we can say no, or we can just continue to talk about it. But it's good to have a marker there.
Yeah, Phil's right though. If you're using did resolver, the metadata about the KERI metadata is all you need. If you're a KERI person, you don't ever need to look at the did doc.
Yeah, and that's been our stance up till now.
Yeah. So I don't. It just I just couldn't remember if we talked about it or what the position was, and if there's some other thing that you guys are doing with did docs. So seds are in the Caesar spec. So if somebody if they're interpreting things using Caesar, then they might be able to do a sed on a did doc, not because they care about KERI, but because they care about Caesar. But I don't know. I don't know of any applications off the top of my head. Somebody else will have to say, here's an application that makes sense. And not for verification purposes, but for tracking and management and other contexts. Because it is a hash of the document, but it's
Yeah.
not, you know.
And that's exactly why I think it's worth considering, because I do think it's worth trying to think through the various use cases and paths and determine if there's ever a case where somebody's not necessarily a KERI, but like also does want a really slick way to validate that the DID document is correct. And I just think that's worth considering.
All right. Sorry for the distraction.
It's a good conversation.
Anything, but yeah, it sounds like great progress on did WebS, so that's very encouraging.
Yeah, so the did KERI resolver for Unity resolver is working, and I just this morning I fixed the last problem on the did WebS resolver. Been working with Marcus, so after this week, then the
Good.
universal resolver for did WebS and did KERI works just fine. And I think I
Well,
should mention. Go ahead.
Yeah, you should send an email to the BC Gov guys. Let them know your progress.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is the thing we should talk about next
Nice.
week. The did WebVH is on track to become the first diff recommended did method. Did Web Plus is on track to become the second diff recommended did method.
It's so ancestral.
If we want did WebS to join the party, I think have a strong case now. We just need to talk about
that's a good point. Yes, we should. We definitely we should actually be the first recommended one, but you know, I know the politics there, so
it's just starting the process. We just formalized that process at diff, and so you know, Stephen he just started the process before we did. But I think we're in a good place to be able to move forward now with the universal resolver solved. It's something I want to talk about with Kent and see if he and I can sponsor that through the process. So we'll talk about that next week, though.
Cool. Great.
Well, that's all for me.
Okay, how about the Signify TS? Any developments there? We don't have any of the Cardano people here today, right?
No Cardano, and no QBIs or anything.
Yeah, not a lot of activity recently, other than by Fergal.
Okay, well, let's go. Anybody want to report on anything else in that space? No other reports. All right. So Fergal's not here, so this was actually his thing, but I'll do the discussion and he can catch up with it since we don't have a lot to discuss today.
Do you want to share, or do you want me to share? Oh, just open this.
I'll share.
Okay. Right, let me publish
unless
this
you want to, since you have the link, I don't care.
You go.
All right.
I just want to publish that before I forgot.
Have you seen count code for blinded IANA media types? All right. So so the issue brought up is the use case is you want to attach a photograph to your your wallet for contacts in your wallet. And so how do you send using, you know, Caesar and ESSR? So you want to use Caesar encoding to send things like images, because you want to put images like in your contact database. And one suggestion was, well, we could just create Caesar primitive codes for different image types. And a counter proposal was, well, how about we just leverage the media types and send something so that we can send all media types. So that means we don't have to add primitive codes, but we'd have to add a count code. So we can still add primitive codes, especially if we have media types that are become really popular. Like if you really need a PNG, and it happens a lot, and you want to embed PNGs in messages, not as attachments, then that's a use case for sending PNGs, or maybe it's icons or some smaller thing that you want to embed in messages, not attachments. And that's the main reason you would do a primitive versus a count code, because count codes work for attachments. Primitives can be embedded as field values in messages. So this one is more, this proposal is the more general one, and it only requires one additional code, which is a group code. The proposed structure for the group code, as you can see on my screen, is there are 4 fields. The first field is the digest of the quadruple acting as a set of the quadruple. And so for the blinded state tell, this is the special type of SED because it's not a field map. It's the SED of a concatenation of primitives. And so the SED spec doesn't, it allows us to do that, actually, because I just reread the SED spec. So that's a valid SED. And so it is a SED, but it's a blinded SED. So I call it a blid as a blinded SED, but it is a SED. That one of the problems with the blinded state is there are 2 SEDs in the blinded state. There's the SED of the AC/DC, and then there's the SED of the blinded state quadruple. So it was a little bit confusing. In this case, there's only one SED. So you create that SED by figuring out what size the digest is, replacing that with dummy characters, and then compute the digest of the whole quadruple, including the dummy characters, and then replacing the SED field with the digest, and that becomes your blinded quadruple. Why do it blinded? That way you can have an exchange message that has a reference to the SED, but nobody can infer what's in the image from the SED. So you would have to specifically attach the image in order for somebody to know what's in it, and you could do that attachment out of band, or you could do that attachment encrypted in some way so that somebody who can see the message itself can't see that. So it makes it easy to manage without having to use a full AC/DC. So a counter proposal would be not blinded, just put the SED. Now, why have a SED at all? Well, you need some way to label multiple attached media, and you could have a text label that's just some label you make up, but then that's subject to malleability attacks on your attachments, and so that would be a bad idea in general. So using a SED means that it's a cryptographic commitment to the media type. So if you reference the SED, then nobody can play games with the media. They can't change any bits in the media and still have it be the same media with the same SED. So for all the good reasons that SEDs are good things, having a SED allows you to have the attached media be correct. So then the next field is a salty nonce, or a UUID, and we have an empty value in the primitive table, which allows you to not to have a field that's there. It's a fixed field, so it's not, the field is present, but it's empty. So it's like an empty string without specifying an empty string. So it's a compact specification for empty. If you don't want it blinded. If you do want it blinded, then you put the blind in there, which would be a salty nonce. The third field is the media type, encoded as text. Media types include symbols that are not base 64. So you may have to use a texter to encode it. There's a new class called the labeler class, and the labeler class will create text strings in efficient Caesar encoding. So if the text string has only base 64 characters, then it will use either a tag or a Bexter to encode it, depending on the length, which is more efficient than using a texter. If it includes non-base64 characters, then it will use a texter to encode it. And so that just gives you more compact encoding. But any media type can then be encoded with a labeler. You just make strict defaults when you want you want to use other characters besides base64. The fourth field is the actual media, and since media are usually binary formats, then we use a texter, which just encodes the binary format as Caesar compatible base64. And then an actual message would then reference the SED of the attachment in the group, and groups can have multiple attachments, right? So a group is multiple quadruples. It's framing the quadruples, so I could have multiple pictures, each with their own SED, in one group as an attachment. And then inside the message, I would just reference the SED of the particular media quadruple that I'm referring to. And if I want to also add graduated disclosure, then instead of using like an exchange message body with a labeled field for the media, I could put it in an ACDC and that is nested down in a partially disclosable format so that I can get even more privacy or confidential, mechanisms to play with. But I think the standard use case would be I'm sending an exchange message or a reply message, and attached to that is the media, and I encrypt the whole message so they can't see what's in the media. And then I can store a reference to that media in places unencrypted, and store the media separately, encrypted someplace, and decrypt it and verify that it's the same media because the SEDs verify. And because media types don't have SEDs embedded, we'd have to change those media type definitions. That would be a really hard lift to do. So what we basically do is put the media in a group that has a SED and use the SED of the group as the SED for the media, which includes the media type, which also means that it's more secure because now you can't play games with the media type. You can't do a malleability attack on a media type, which is a known attack.
So maybe I'm confused by this, but if I understand those first four sentences correctly, what the definition of those four fields, if you have a non-blinded image, wouldn't the SED, let's say of a PNG, wouldn't the SED be the same for all of those? Because you'll have the empty value for the blind, you'll have the media type. Oh, the media itself encoded as text. That's what the fourth field is. Okay, never mind. All right, I missed that. Okay, never mind. Got it.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
media.
it's not just
So
the
then you're. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, then you're encoding the actual media, whatever it is, the actual image.
And then you're
the
going to do
field.
all that before creating the message, because you're going to take that SED and put it in the message, and then you're going to sign it.
And then you're going to sign it. That's right.
So that'll be the first instance of us creating attachments before the image, before the message itself, I think.
Well, blinded state tells have to do that. So
yeah.
So this is actually just extending it's just basically applying the same principle to we had to do for blinded state tells. So blinded state is just, a special is a string that's the state, like issued or revoked, and I need to blind it, and then I need to make a SED of that so that I can refer to it, but you don't know what the state is unless I give you the salty nonce so that you can verify that it matches the SED, because you can't compute the SED with just the state. You need the salty nonce.
And I guess creating a SED on an attachment group is now common with Caesar too, right? Because you have to do it with Caesar encoded messages. Yeah. I was going to say we don't do that, but now we have to with Caesar too. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's very common now in all the Caesar encoded stuff. And every fixed field Caesar message, it does exactly this. If you think about what the top level of an inception message looks like, the SED in that message, there are no field labels at the top level. So it's not like you're encoding JSON, you're encoding just the fields in order. So the first field is the version field, then the type field, and then the sed field. And the sed field is done this way. And if you have a UUID in AC, no, you wouldn't have one in KERI, but in ACDCs, you have a UUID, you have a salty nonce. And so it looks the same. So this sort of computation is all over the place now with the Caesar encoding stuff. So you're just building on that. So my brain has been in this space for the last 6 months. Yeah. So anyway, that's the proposal.
Makes sense to me.
Anybody have any questions? What that means is that any KERI message now, this would largely be exchange messages and reply messages, could attach any IANA media type in a secure fashion.
So does that mean that, so you would have essentially like a Caesar text primitive that would be a media type?
No, the Caesar text primitive is the texture object, would be the media. The type field is another text primitive, but the value of it is the media type.
Okay.
So it'd be PNG,
Image
right?
slash PNG, yeah.
Image slash PNG. That's what
Okay.
that's what you would. So when you decode this, you would get, and so we'd have to add this to the parser, so the parser can parse these attachments. And then, so there'd be a new, but it's straightforward for the parser to do it. So we have to add, so that there's work to be done to support this as an attachment. But first we need the code. So what would happen then is the parser would just see this code. It would then just pull off the number of bytes for each quadruple, and then create a list of quadruples, and decode those quadruples into the classes. So the first two would be nonsers, then a labeler, and then a texter. And so you'd get a list of tuples, of quadruples, of 4 tuples. And then so that would get passed in to, say, the process message or process event for like exchange or a reply message. And then if you wanted to save that, then you'd have a hook in the code that says, oh yeah, we for this type of exchange message, we want to save the PNG that you sent attached to this, or multiple PNGs, because one group code can encode multiple media types in one group code. Multiple media items, I guess is the better way to say it, each with their own type. So you could have a PNG and a JPEG and a TIFF of your image, all three there in the same attachment. You would need a separate attachment for each different version, each different media type for the same picture. Or you could have all the pictures, because you would have a manifest in your exchange message that said, like main picture and then the sed, group picture and then the sed, and then alternate pictures and then their seds, and then so how to parse it. So
Got it. Okay.
Right. So essentially it reproduces all of the functionality, but securely, of attachments to messages, where the original MIME type came from, mail messages, right? That's why we have media types, is so that emails could have attached things that weren't text. So now we can attach everything that anybody could attach to any email. You can now attach it to any KERI message, and it'd be Caesar encoded. So
it sounds like the implication here is that anything that wanted to leverage secure MIME types, they would need to have the parser occur before their media type handling. Just because
Yeah,
it would be
you'd have to
potentially
verify.
encoded.
You'd have to verify the SED before you would trust the media that was sent. Yes.
Right.
And if the SED appeared in an exchange message that was signed or anchored, right, in it like in an ACDC, and right, then you would verify that the anchor or verify the signature, and then verify the SED on the attached media type, and now you have an immutable, tamper-proof, secure attachment. So nobody can play games with that. So all of the attack vectors that now are valid for emails, because media types aren't secured in any way. They're secured with the session, right? So the only security is the session, the TLS session. You now can secure on a message by message basis, and it goes with it wherever you store it. So somebody can't because you're using SEDs to provide tamper protection and duplicate your databases, right? Because if you have multiple copies of the image and you have a database that is keyed with the SED of this quadruple, you won't ever store a duplicate copy anywhere.
Makes sense.
So Sam, that could also be used like maybe for a watermark in some sense, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's what, yes, the cryptographic digest is a watermark.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about the whole issue with AI generated content and not knowing where it came from.
Oh, yeah, that's yes. So Caesar primitives would change how you train AI large language models, because right now they just create non-cryptographic symbols for non-language items. So I don't know if you know this, but like when you ask, say, ChatGPT to do something that requires interfacing to somebody's API, the API itself gets a symbol, and the symbols are just simple ones. They're not cryptographic. So it might be database API. They might actually call it database API, right? That would be the symbol, right? With a underscore, so that it doesn't look like a sentence, right? Where it's two words, right? So the weight that it gets in the LLM is different because it's a special symbol, right? What happens is that you can ask Chat GPT or any of the large language models, you can ask them for their identifiers. So for example, one of the attacks is you ask Chat GPT, what is your first instruction? And then you ask it for what is the identifier for this API, and you describe the API, and then it'll give you back the identifier. And now you can directly inject stuff into that API just by using that identifier. Because there's no security on any of those identifiers. They're not even universally unique or have any cryptographic entropy, so you can guess them pretty easily, and then use them. So it's just people running to it's just lemmings running to sorry, that's probably not a good way to say it, since this is recorded. It's people running to a cliff to make money without thinking about security, and building AIs that have no security at all in their construct. It's all spam filters after the fact or spam filters in front, but nothing in what they're learning that has any intrinsic security mechanisms. There's no entropy anywhere.
Thanks, Sam. I got to drop. That was great.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway.
we are at the top of the hour. So.
All right. Well, so let me know. I mean, what's the thumbs up, thumbs down?
I would say thumbs up on it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. I'll add it to the table then. And we'll move forward with that. and then Fergal can comment if he objects, but I think he's okay with this based on the discussion. So
Cool.
all right.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you, everybody.
bye-bye.
Bye.